everyone. This is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome. Let's see who's in. Looks like streaming status is okay. Cupie was first. Good job, Cupie. Gozy333, Mandela Tormented. Suzanne Gunther Photography. Phil Cantu. Shari D is in. Welcome. Q-Cook Monty. Moonlit Illusion. I think that's it. Matthew T is in. Paul NE9. Some of the regulars. Okay, so what's that thing on the thumbnail? That is a grasshopper. Somebody brought this up recently. Grasshopper wings. This is kind of an interesting story because I'm thinking back, way back, I don't remember grasshoppers having any wings. I just remember them hopping. They would hop. Somewhere along the line, I think they snuck in some kind of gossamer thin, kind of mostly translucent wings. And somehow I didn't really notice those. I think those have been around for a while. But just lately, suddenly they have like these butterfly wings. And there's even like places are saying, oh, well, when they're flying, it's hard to tell a butterfly from a grasshopper because they look so similar, which was never the case before. But apparently now they look a lot like butterflies. The way you can tell the difference is that they make a clicking noise when they fly versus the butterflies that don't. So the wings here. This was, I saw this one on Retcon, and it was from Always Learning 1980, who picked up on this. And you'll see a bunch of people saying that they just noticed that this year, that they saw a bunch of weird butterflies, and they were confused. And then they figured out finally that they were grasshoppers. Yes, I didn't even know what one was when I first saw it. Stuff like that. These are people who live out where these grasshoppers have always been there. This person says they remember them with dragonfly-like wings, like kind of unobtrusive and clear and not showy. So now they have like these butterfly wings. I'm not sure if every last one has it, but there's a lot of people saying that the ones in their area have changed. I've certainly never heard of it. They've got a lot more wing now. I remember like this little weenie wing. Now they've got this full complement of wingness. Some of it's really pretty. Pink. All kind of stuff. Very neat. So, yeah. I mean, look at that. Carolina grasshopper. You just think it was a butterfly. You just wouldn't. They used to be obviously not a butterfly. But now with the wings out, you can't really tell that easily. So cool, I guess. All right, so. As long as you don't have scorpion tails. Oh, yeah, we'll cover scorpions later. Sorry. Freaking scorpions. The creepy crawlies are out this year. That's all I have to say. Linda Compton's in. Welcome. Yeah, moth. It looks like a moth or a butterfly now. Has anyone seen the new Sandra Bullock movie Bird Box? Is that new? I thought that was at least a year old. Yeah, it's a grasshopper. Sorry. Look up grasshoppers in your area. So basically, you could see those and you would just think that they were butterflies when they're flying. So it used to be they just hop, and then they had those little wings. And then now we got these big honking wings. So I'm figuring they probably don't hop. It's just kind of weird. Most things that have wings don't hop. So it's like, it doesn't really make a ton of sense anyways. But I'm betting that they'll fly better now too. They've got these big honking wings. Poodle moth. Oh, so Infinite Solace found a poodle moth. Yeah, a lot of these things, they come out and they're in like the depths of Africa. at first, and then the next thing you know, they're like in Michigan and California. I'm going to cover some more that are like that later in this episode. Yeah, poodle moths. I'm pretty sure when those came out, they were some kind of dark Africa thing. Well, anyways, what is the difference between a grasshopper and a locust anyway? Locusts and grasshoppers are the same in appearance, but locusts can exist in two different behavioral states, solitary and gregarious, whereas most grasshoppers do not. When population density is low, locusts behave as individuals like grasshoppers. How do you tell the difference between a locust and a grasshopper? Similar in appearance. The major difference occurs when locusts become gregarious. In grasshoppers, the front wings are thin and tough, while the outer wings are wide and flexible. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's grasshoppers. Let's see how many show it with the wings out. See, they don't look like much with the wings when the wings are folded. It's amazing. Grasshopper wings. So this is one's, no, these are all definitely grasshoppers. They're all clearly labeled with their scientific names and stuff. Shorthorn grasshopper. Orthoptera grasshopper. And also I was looking this up earlier, and they said very clearly that grasshoppers look like butterflies when they fly. Carolina grasshopper here. Yeah, no, these are all grasshoppers. Okay, so kind of jumping to a whole nother subject. Little bit of excitement last night. Driving home at 8:32 p.m. I was halfway home. Yeah, I kind of go to work late and then I stay late. So it was dark. And I looked over to the west, kind of just as I was driving, it caught my eye. There was a really weird green light thingy in the sky. And then for me, it was this way, but so it would be for you, left to right. It started here, kind of high. And it was kind of going like this, slow, and then it picked up speed, and then it just went shoom down really fast. And it was really bright, and it was green. I mean, really green, not just a little bit green. It was freaking green. So at first I thought it was some kind of UFO, but then it shot down. I mean, it was so fast, way faster than free fall speeds. And it was really bright. I mean, not your average meteor. Not your average meteorite. So I was kind of stoked about that. So I immediately looked and checked my phone for the time. And I drove home, and I have a friend that lives on the property, and I talked to him, and he said he saw it because his window points to the west, and he saw it through the window, through the slats. So I actually, started posting local, like nextdoor.com and stuff. And so other people saw this thing. This particular website is set up so that you can kind of post in your observations. So each one of these little pins is a person and where they observed it. So it looks like it was seen from like San Diego to Santa Barbara. And there's a couple people way out here who also saw it, Las Vegas, Fresno. I'm going to get rid of the people. So what they do is they ask you a bunch of questions on what angle you saw it and where you saw it, and did it make noise or not. And then they get all these different eyewitnesses, and they try to correlate them all and figure out where it came in at and where it went down at. So they think that it came showed up over here on the west end of LA and then came down. It was a very sharp down at the end over here, like a little north of LA area. That's what they think so far. So it doesn't, like, you probably can't see much, but it's I don't know, 50 miles or something. So the weird thing for me is that it wasn't just a straight shot. It actually looked like it was going slow and then it curved down. So I don't know, is that actually really a meteorite, and maybe it was coming right at me and hitting the atmosphere and it got refracted off the atmosphere and shot down? I'm the only one that I saw. I have not looked at every one of these eyewitnesses, but nobody else seems to have seen it do that. So, I mean, that would not be normal meteorite behavior. But the other thing is, I noticed now they're calling these really bright ones, they're calling them fireballs. And I was just looking up fireballs, and they're saying a fireball is a really bright meteorite. It's kind of weird that they would call it. Didn't look like a fireball. It looked like a really bright light. So I don't know. That terminology is an interesting choice. Do you have a dash cam? Yeah, no, I don't have a dash cam. I'm not sure if it would have caught it because I was looking forward and it was way over here. So I don't think the dash cam necessarily would have got it. And then it went down behind buildings, back behind them. So I think the dash cam may have just got the buildings. But yeah, that's a good point. If there's going to be a bunch of weird crap around here, it's all the more reason to get a dash cam. So yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I know people who do the meteorite hunting, and they're definitely treating it like a fireball. And what they'll do is they'll try to figure out where it may have come down, and they'll look for it. They'll go out there with the metal detectors and they'll hunt for it. So they think it's out here. Nobody heard a boom or any noise, so that But it looks like so far they're thinking that it came out on land, which is interesting. Now, my old timeline, there was no fireballs. I've been hearing about that about the last couple of years. I'm not really shocked that I saw one just because things have been so weird lately, but they're still saying that they're super rare. But then there's people on here who said, oh, I saw one 20 years ago and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I don't know what to think about all that. But anyway, I don't even know what to think. I mean, it didn't act like you would expect a straight shooting star, which is not really a star, obviously, a meteorite. It didn't go straight, and that's weird to me. Also, the color, green, and it was one size the whole time. I mean, if it was coming closer to me, I would have thought maybe it would get brighter or less bright or something. But no, it was exactly it almost looked like a weird LED in the sky or something, like a super big one. So I don't know what to think about all that. Another interesting thing that kind of was mentioned on here, talking to I actually know a guy from rock hounding that does this meteorite chasing. And so I was talking to him a bit on this case, which he is hot on it because he handles everything. He works on anything nearby because he wants to go chase it. And whole bunch of weird. First, he was saying how he seems to be really crabbed out about NASA because he said NASA doesn't do any effort whatsoever to chase local meteorites, and it's all on private individuals to hunt them. So what they'll do is they have this website, and then they'll scrutinize. I guess there's radar reports that the public can get, and they will scrutinize those at the exact time and look for traces on the radar to try to narrow down the location even more. And then they'll go hunt for it. So he said that NASA spends millions going down to Antarctica to look for meteorites. They won't spend one penny here. In this timeline, boy, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about Antarctica already. So the whole thing is just kind of weird. Then there's a whole bunch of Mandela effects that are associated with this guy that I knew because I knew him when I still know him, obviously, but I talked to him a fair lot when I used to do more rock hounding. And and I even babysit their cat a number of times. I know his girlfriend really well. She's also in the club. His whole history is different now. When I knew him before, he had been married for a long time, and then he got divorced, and I guess she was quite wealthy, so she kind of supported him, and then he got a pretty big settlement out of the divorce, and then he had all that money, and then he was talking about trying to find a job that had to do with buying and selling meteorites, since he was so into that, and that was maybe 8 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. That's where they were at. He didn't have a job. Well, apparently in this timeline, he worked for JPL for a long time. And then he finally decided to quit because they refused to hunt for meteorites or something. I don't know. It was like he was just crabbed about their priorities, and he decided to quit and hunt for meteorites full time. So apparently in this time, he had this JPL job for a really long time, and then was able to retire from JPL. So that spins my head, man. No, he didn't work for JPL. But in this timeline he did. I don't know. I I actually asked him some questions about that, and he totally didn't answer any. I was trying to fish for more info. He just like answered every question but those, I don't know. So just weird. It's just a weird bunch of events since yesterday. So that's keeping me busy. Haven't seen a pink grasshopper. I have not seen any except for online. Yeah, there's all these weird colors now. Look at the nasal spine on the humans. Looks like the front jaw is splitting. All right, let's check it out. Maxilla. Derp, derp. All right, so that's the name of that piece that sticks out under the nose. It's the nasal spine. I had not become aware that it had gotten a name. Oh, look at that bump on that skull on the back there. Didn't used to have those on my old skulls. Nasal spine. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Norma frontalis. Now it definitely sticks out a little bit more than before. Just look at skulls in general. A lot of bone back in that nose now. I'm wondering if you're talking about, there's a little line down here that seems a little more prominent. Like there's maybe a little fissure there now. Oh yeah, look at that. There, you could see it on this one. Right here. There's a fissure right here. Did not used to be a fissure going right under the nose. It's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that wasn't there before. Let's see if any of these others have it. I've never seen that on any of them. This one has it. Yep. I think the division inside the nose there with the bone is a lot more organized and sturdy looking too. So yeah, this one has it. Yeah, there's a fissure right here now in the bone itself. That did not used to be there. That's a good find. Good find. God, look at that 3D model of the... Just, there's so many changes. Boy, there's not a lot of images of a human skull upright, the real ones, right now either. Look at that. The fissures have changed so much. I think they're not called fissures anymore. They're sutures now. They call these sutures. All right. So yeah, that was a good find. Ghosty 333, good find. Yeah, that's a good point, Data Junkie. The line between them has blurred between the grasshoppers and the locusts. They were pretty vague on that, weren't they? About what they are. Yeah, there's been no pictures of the green meteorite yet, unfortunately. It was only there like 1.5 seconds. I mean, by the time you'd process that something creepy was going on, you wouldn't even have a chance to reach for your phone. I mean, if you were able to even touch your phone, there just wouldn't have been time. Not to mention poking on it and getting it to the video function and like that. You just wouldn't. You would have not seen the event at all by the time you did all that. Unfortunately. Yeah, that well, the septum for me was just this bunch of skin. They call it the nasal septum, where the skin kind of pooches and there's like this little track. When I think about it, that is kind of a weird little track to have there, but it wasn't in the bone for me before, so I think something is going on with body temperature. I don't feel 39 Celsius is hot anymore. I don't know. I go back and forth. I've been feeling a lot better since I've been on all the antihistamines, and I had the antibiotics the last 3 weeks. So now I'm really finding that temperature doesn't bother me nearly as much. At least the heat is just not bothering me nearly as much as it was. So I don't know if it's because I'm healthier, I've shifted. I don't know. And there's still times when I feel weirdly warm, but I checked the temperature and it's not. Weirdly, I was on the narcolepsy boards, and other people said that happens to them with narcolepsy. I don't know. The whole thing is just so weird. I mean, all these health things. I mean, I just learn them and then it changes again, and I don't even know what I need the new user manual for this new body. I don't know how to deal with it. I saw a heart drug commercial that showed the heart in the center of the chest. That's interesting. I wonder if that person who did the commercial was affected. They probably had no idea it wasn't in the middle anymore. You have big Superbolt lightning. Did I cover that one before? I know there was some kind of... There was the dark lightning. Superbolt lightning. A rare form of lightning where the bolt is much stronger, such as 100 times, and lasts much longer, such as 5 times than the usual form of lightning. Yeah, I don't think I've covered that specific one. I remember that I was talking about like extra big lightning, but I don't remember that term Superbolt. What is positive lightning? The positive and negative side of lightning. These bolts are known as positive lightning because there's a net transfer of positive charges. Positive, okay. Ball lightning. All right, I don't see any super new ones besides, but yeah, Superbolt. Let's just take some images of Superbolt lightning. I'm gonna write this down too. Superbolt. So we got nasal spine and Superbolt lightning. I've definitely seen images of these in the last few months of like these super fat bolts. And they just get a little fatter every time I look. Superbolt, look at that thing. Amazing. Yeah, very weird. All right, so kind of spaced out today. I feel good, but I'm not real good at concentrating today. That's done. Superbolt lightning. This one is from... This one is from Julie Holcomb. She found out a bunch of weird stuff about types of twins. So people are probably familiar with identical twins and fraternal twins. So identical, they were a little zygote and they split, and they should be identical. They have the same DNA. Fraternal, they're non-identical. So like two eggs fertilized by two sperm. So they are just be like basically brother and sister, but they came out at the same time, or brother and brother, or sister and sister. All right, so there's a third type. More than three is what I'm kind of catching here, but there may be a third type called polar body or half identical twins. Now, this whole polar body, I've not heard of this thing before. Some doctors would suggest would explain why some fraternal twins look identical, but it's never been proven that this type exists. When an egg is released, it can split in two. Well, yeah, it's called cell division, but apparently it can split in two such that the smaller of the two halves is called a polar body. It has everything it needs to grow into a baby if it is fertilized. However, there's very little fluid inside, so it usually is too small to survive. If the polar body survives, it could be fertilized by one sperm when the larger half of the egg is fertilized by another. Okay, so I've never actually heard of this egg splitting in two thing. So apparently it splits in two before it's fertilized. I've not heard of that before. I've not heard of this polar body and the splitting in two thing. I'm not really sure if this is common or what, but so the egg splits in two and then can get fertilized. And they're saying the polar body is often too small to survive, but I guess if it survives, then it can become another baby. Because they come from a single egg, the chromosomes from the mother are identical. They share no chromosomes from their father. They may or may not be of the same sex. All right. I'm not sure how this is really all that different from maternal twins. It kind of sounds like it to me. I think the argument, though, is that the egg, the genetics you get from the mother are the exact genetics. Like, there's no, so you're a little bit more related than the fraternals. Some other weird stuff, mirror image twins. When the egg splits 7 to 12 days after fertilization, instead of during the first week, by this time, the the growing embryo has already developed a left and right side. These twins are identical but mirror images of each other. For example, their hair may spiral in opposite directions, their teeth may start coming in opposite sides of their mouth, and one may be right-handed while the other is left-handed. They may even cross their legs in the opposite direction. I wonder if their organs are flipped, actually. I should probably check that. Image twins organs. Our mirror image twins organs may be mirrored, such as example babies. The spleen may be an opposite size in each twin. However, mirroring of the appendix or heart or other internal organs is rare. Huh. All right, so there's an image of these mirror image twins. Very weird. Okay, conjoined twins. We've kind of heard of those. I mean, you know, parasitic twins. That's like a conjoined where one is dependent on the other for survival. Here's another one. Semi-identical twins. This type is a result of two separate sperms fertilizing a single egg. To survive, the egg must then split into two, with each half having exactly the right number of chromosomes. There have only been 2 reported cases of semi-identical twins. So that looks like it's kind of the opposite of these polar body twins, because they share the same... Well, no, actually, I'm trying to think about this. They have 2 separate sperms and one mother. So yeah, they would be also another one of these. Not identical, but more related than fraternals. Let's see if this one's going to load up over here. See an image of these. All right, so these are these semi-identical twins. I don't know, they just look like twins to me, so I'm just going to skip on out of that. Unique fraternal twins. Twins with different ages. I think we've covered this one. Women usually stop releasing eggs as soon as they get pregnant. When this happens, it's called, during the same menstrual cycle, it's called superfecundation. So you can carry one and it'll be younger than the other one. Twins with different fathers. 2 eggs released at different times, same ovulation cycle, are fertilized by different fathers. Okay. All right, so that covers all of them. Semi-identical was the one that I originally was going to cover, but there's a bunch of other ones. Human bones secreting hormones. No, I don't remember that. Can't say I'm too shocked, though. Human bones secreting hormones. Let's check it out. I used to just make there was the bone marrow, that was it. Those studies supported an endocrine role for the skeleton in regulating mineral metabolism. But few believe that bone could act to modulate metabolic homeostasis. Bone as an endocrine organ. Not only is a structural scaffold to support the human body, but also as a regulator of a number of metabolic processes that are independent of mineral metabolism. Modulates glucose tolerance and testosterone production by secretion of bone-specific protein osteocalcin. Huh. All right, how old is this article? How old are you? Article. 2012. So this is old news in this timeline. Huh. All right. Well, haven't heard boo about that in the diabetes world. I can't say I'm surprised, though, because, you know, all the parts are Like that, the lungs make blood and all kinds of weird stuff. Egg did not split before fertilization where I come from. Yeah, it did not split before fertilization. Sorry, D got nasty allergies. I don't really know what I had. I mean, I technically don't think I have allergies because I don't have asthma anymore. I don't have a runny nose. I don't get itchy eyes. I don't sneeze. I don't have any allergy symptoms. But I was getting sick a lot, and the doctor thinks that I had like a really long-term chronic sinusitis, and so that's why I'm on all the antihistamines. And I don't know. I mean, I guess the sinuses are so huge in this timeline. I mean, my airwaves are not blocked. I can breathe through both sides of my nose. In fact, I used to, in the 90s, have trouble with that. But the last 5 years, I've had zero problems breathing in through my nose. So I would say I don't have any allergies. But apparently I had this sinusitis thing. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I feel better. Whatever storyline you want to pick. Did I clear chi blockage? Did I switch to a better timeline? Did I fix my sinus infection that I didn't know I have, that I don't have any symptoms of? Hardly. I don't know. I don't know. It's like the more I learn, the more I don't know anything, is kind of my feeling. They say the human body moves after death. It's the ligaments drying out. I've covered some of that, but I haven't heard the ligaments drying out thing. They were saying like it's residual functionality of the synapses and this and that. Apparently, like there's pushing now like that cells can live like 45 minutes after death, just kind of burning whatever fuel they already had and stuff. So that whole so it won't be that weird, I think, to be brought back from death a half hour later or something now with the current storyline. Aurora Northern Lights rhythms in response to Earth's magnetic fields. Yeah, no, that made sense in my old timeline because they said the magnetic fields caused it. Do you know Shrek was a real person? Shrek was a real person? Shrek. Well, the poke. No, for the okay. Shrek was a real person now. Okay, even looks like Shrek. Okay, Morris Tillett. Shrek was a real person. No, I've never heard of that. Isn't that like, wouldn't it be considered rude to like make a cartoon character out of a real person? Wrestler Maurice Tillett. I don't know, dudes. I don't know anymore. Okay, so he had the weird face, the weird body. It doesn't even look like a real person. Okay. I don't know what to say about that. Let's see what we can learn about Maurice Tillett. The French Angel. Better known by his ring name, the French Angel, Tillett was a leading box office draw in the early 1940s. Twice contracted to act as world heavyweight champion by AWA. I was wondering, does he have some weird hormonal thing? Because his bone structure is weird. As a child, he had a completely normal appearance until it was nicknamed the Angel due to his angelic face. Until it was 20, he noticed swelling in his feet, hands, and head, and after visiting a doctor, was diagnosed with acromegaly, a condition usually caused by benign tumor on the pituitary gland, resulting in bone overgrowth and thickening. Huh. Now, when I saw acromegaly before, they would just get really tall. They wouldn't turn into like Shrek. Huh. Weird. Okay. So acromegaly now has different side effects. That's weird. Okay, Shari D, good find. I know. I wanted to say that there weren't that many Emmys, but it has been a weird week. I don't know. Way more likely to be hit by dark lightning, can't see it coming. You're laughing, Alex, but actually that's true. You can't see the freaking stuff. It's like it's dark. It's just I don't know. So I guess now you can just get struck down and not even be lightning, but it's dark lightning. Now they're regrowing bones skull in mice with protein BMP9. Does not surprise me at all. I think we're going to see all kinds of neat stuff. Knuckles are receding even further, and bones on the top of the hand are now moving further to the right. I don't see any huge difference from last week. I did want to say that I might as well cover this in case I forget. Here. Is that the one? No. Here. Okay, this is a different one. Somebody mentioned in the comments to look at the knee. It looks to me like this is more straight. This is my my saved image. And here, I don't remember this giant padding up all the way up into here. And I think the femur on the end is the bone is way more split than it was last time. Not humongous differences, but that's what I wanted to mention for the knee. Now, over here. My feet. All right. I think the feet actually are changing a lot. Still. I still notice a lot on my feet. One thing I notice is the toe that's next to the pinky. It used to lay down flat, but now it curves to the side. It goes sideways when I walk. And both sides do that. And it's just the last few months. Let's see if this thing's going to even load. Come on. Here we go. Maybe. So this is the photo I took a while back when we were first talking about weird foot things. It's right here. Okay, so in this timeline, there's red dots that show. But this toe now, you can see it really good over here. And even the toe next to it lays off to the side now. And there's more and more space between the toes. Like rocks and stuff are getting between my toes now. Because they can get in there. Those toes used to be mooshed together. And this bump on the side has kind of widened out to include more feet over here. So the feet are getting wider. These toes are spreading out. They're pulling back. That's still happening. Like this pinky toe is they used to be more straight across up here, but I think it's the same thing that's happening with the hands. You know, they used to be here and now it's going like this. Same thing's happening with the toes. Oh, it's really weird. It's just weird to see that those two toes, especially that one, they're flopped over. It's sideways now. It makes no sense. The nail is digging into the earth almost. I mean, I'm gonna have to. It's gonna start wearing down the side of the nail or something. Those toes aren't laying flat anymore. I mean, are they going to straighten out later? I don't know. It's just weird. All right, let's see if this one will load. This is that new structure I talked about. I think it was last week. I noticed there's all these speakers here. I don't remember a big line of speakers. I remember maybe like one. But we've got this line of speakers here. Or I don't know if they're speakers, but they're some kind of boxes. It looks like there might be just a little bit more structure to this thing. It's a little deeper down here. I'm going to keep an eye on this because it's brand new and I think it's growing rather quickly. So keep an eye on this thing. Amenhotepi, whatever the heck it is. I didn't see too many other changes in other things. Most of the other stuff's fairly stable. I swear the face of the Sphinx looks a little different every time I look at it, and it looks a little more damaged than it was last week, but I mean, it just shifts so much, it's hard to keep track of all that. All right, so there's that. Let's see what... All right, see what you guys are up to. Yeah, actually, knuckles are receding further. Now that you mention that, you're right. This knuckle here, the knuckle used to be sort of in the middle of the finger, but now it's way down here. These are getting longer, these nubs, and these are coming down. It's interesting. Look at how low the knuckle is on these two. It's way down. They're way down. Somehow I didn't even see that. So that's a good find. Those knuckles are way down. So this knuckle, it's like a third of the way down. These ends used to be sort of really just really small on the end, but now they're equal parts. It's interesting. Yeah. Huge allergies lately too. Never had like this before. Yeah, I'm taking the antihistamine twice a day for the sinusitis. So if I did get allergies, I don't know if I'd know about it, but I haven't had any symptoms of allergies. And the only symptom I had of the sinusitis was I would get occasional headaches. I mean, who doesn't get those? I don't know. And the fatigue. And then I kept getting that sore throat, but that was it. It wasn't really anything really screaming allergy, so don't know. This new twin stuff is bull. I don't know. The whole thing is bull. Fireballs, twins, Shrek is a real person. I mean, it's just like, it's like facepalm land. I got some more of those I got some more of those coming up too. You guys are coming up with some good stuff today, so I want to read through and make sure I didn't miss anything. Human bone secreting hormones. Glucose modulation. I mean, come on. The human bones are in charge of glucose modulation now. Spotted zebra. Ooh. Spotted zebra. Now, it's probably not a whole species yet, but stay tuned. Spotted. Rare polka-dotted zebra foal. Yeah, they're rare for now. Just wait. It's a-coming. Aww, how cute. There he is. There's another one, Pudgy. A partially spotted one. Another one. The heck is that thing? Strange growth. I don't think I want to even click on that one. Then we've got these albinos, the brown ones, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see. Something new weird with the skin folds at the bottom of the thumb. I think we covered that last time. The fold right here. Like there's a big pouch right here. Looks weird. It's even worse than last week, actually. This whole thing, I just don't remember this thing there. There's a big space, I think because the thumb has gotten lower. There's a big webby area here now that didn't used to be there. That must be growing pretty quick because it looks a lot worse than last week. Beavis and Butthead were based on Mike Judge's real professors. All right. Well, I mean, certainly I can see them modeling characters off of people they known, but that was like a non-existent creature modeled after a person that looked like a non-existent creature, so it's extra weird. You would think that maybe you heard about that. I don't know. Okay, so because this brings up another one. Who brought this one up? Oh man, did I not write it down? The dire wolves are real. I'm sure, was it me or somebody else? Dang it, I think it was somebody else who brought this one up. I did notice it a few weeks ago, so I can't remember if someone jogged my memory or it's just something. But apparently dire wolves, that's from that that movie, that TV show everybody was watching. What was that called? That one about the, I can't remember the name of it. Dire wolves. They are an extinct wolf now, so they did exist. Dire wolves once walked the land of the New World, but they are now extinct. Known as Canis dirus, dire wolves lived during Pleistocene. Close relatives to the modern canids like the gray wolf. So the dire wolves now existed. Game of Thrones, yeah, that's it. So dire wolves existed now. Now we have Red River everywhere from Peru to India, Russia in Red River. Red rivers all over the place. Let's see. Red River. I know there's a river called Red River. Are we talking about rivers that are red? Not sure exactly. Red River, Cusco. Mystery behind Russia's Blood River. Norris Nickel admits Red River. Oh, I get. So are we talking about rivers that are red? Did you about the existence of the Red River? I can't say I'm shocked. There's a river in Cusco, Peru, which is surprisingly red waters. All right, so we're done with the pink lakes. Well, not done with them, but now we've got the red rivers. Due to the mineral deposits present in the different layers of clay forming due to soil erosion, the river is red specifically to the presence of iron oxide coming off red region of the mountains. Can only be seen during the monsoon months. All right. Now, the first red rivers I saw about 8 years ago were only due to chemical spills. And I had wondered even back then how much freaking chemical could you actually get in there to get a river that red. Neanderthals used plant-based medicine. They used aspirin and penicillin. Found it in dental plaque. Neanderthals used aspirin and penicillin. You know, last I checked, it was the Native Americans that figured out the aspirin. Neanderthals used penicillin. Oh, how do you spell that? Oh, well. I'll let Google sort that mess out. May have medicated with penicillin. Seem to have survived on an almost exclusively vegetarian diet. Vegetarian cannibals? That doesn't make much sense. They may have had a diet of mostly plants, but paradoxically, they provided meat to the Neanderthals that killed them. Um, right, it's not really, let's see, where we get this, all right, they were eating plants with anti-inflammatory properties. The new study also finds DNA sequences of poplar plants, which are known to contain the natural painkiller salicylic acid, closely related to the active ingredient in aspirin. That's interesting because I thought it was the willow. Poplars have aspirin because it was just willows. Last I checked, not poplars. All right, so they're saying poplars are related to willows. It's interesting. I've not heard of poplars having it though. I'm wondering if that's a little bit of a stretching out of how many of the plants have aspirin in them. All right, and then they were eating penicillin fungus. Penicillin grows naturally on plant material as it molds, so they could have eaten it by coincidence. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Again, follows the pattern. Tech back in time, intelligence back in time. Mm, 5G will kill a lot of people. I don't know. I mean, every time there's a new G, they say that, and then like basically nothing much happens. All right, so got all those. All right, this one I was watching Need Inputs channel, and he had one on hippos, the big old teeth of the hippos. I'll cover it real quick, but this is the part he said. He remembers them having normal freaking teeth, okay? And yes, I agree with you that hippos had normal freaking teeth. But now they have like two big fangs here, and then they have two that stick out like spears so that they can, I guess, I mean, look at those fangs. They just look like they're poked in there randomly. Now, he both Need Input and I remember him having sort of like normal herbivore molars, basically. Check out the skeleton kind of shows you. So now they have like giant fangs and then these two sticky outy ones that look ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. See if you can see them on. So there's these stick out. Like, what's the even point? We remember him having like ordinary molars, basically. They might still have a few back here. I'm not sure. But so when he was mentioning this, 'cause I had covered this for camels. Camels have these weird fangs now. And when I covered it from camels, I realized that they had become omnivores and are considered omnivores. So then I wondered now if so jumping off of his observation, are hippos now omnivores? You've got those fangs. So I saw these comments on his channel. Oh, why would they have fangs if they're herbivores? Well, maybe they're not anymore. Some individual hippos eat a great deal of meat, particularly at night. It is a stretch to consider them omnivores, but they do eat a lot more meat than other herbivores, like total terrestrian grazers, like deer, bison, antelope, and others. A lot more meat than others. Now, these terrestrial grazers now also eat meat, like mice and stuff. So we've seen the giraffes will eat carcasses now. So it looks like they're stretching over to omnivore land. These hippos. Okay, the truth about hippos: herbivore or cannibal? And I think I've seen this the last 6 months. They've been showing them chomping on like carcasses and stuff, and I was really suspicious about that. Scientists have got it wrong about hippos a lot over the years. Their name translates to river horse. They also do not sweat blood as once thought, but excrete a red fluid that contains antibacterial sunscreen. All right. My old timeline, they didn't sweat any red stuff. Not too long ago, I was in the timeline where they sweat blood. But I guess now that's an old wives' tale, and hippos sweat antibacterial sunscreen. Okay. Recently, scientists have started to uncover some exceptional behavior that could change our opinion of the animals once again. Okay, so there was a hippo feeding from a carcass of another hippo. Since then, he has been collecting evidence of hippos eating impala, baby elephants, and even their own kind. So he's calling them scavengers. But you know their meanness is much emphasized. So they attack and bite things. So I wouldn't be really surprised if we kind of switched over to the omnivore thing. Who knows where it's going to go? See, I remember them having some teeth, and they would just kind of, to help them, like bite off things, and then they just swallow it. I mean, when they wouldn't sit there going ang 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 on that stuff, but I don't remember them being empty of teeth either. Not like they do a lot of chewing, but they would it help them bite off stuff. God said he would make the animals and insects more vicious, toxic towards the end of the age. Data junkie. Huh, that's interesting. It'd be neat if you could quote some of that stuff, because I'm curious what it says. I don't think I have read that particular one. Toxic beech trees. You can't even touch them. This timeline does like its toxic trees. I saw them on one of those Survivor shows. Deadly algae on Brittany's beaches. Huh. Deadly algae. It can kill you in seconds. The deadly algae on Brittany's beaches. No freaking way. Linked to nitrates and fertilizers. Pungent smell of rotten eggs. For decades, potentially lethal green algae have amassed in shallow bays. Pockets of toxic gas, hydrogen sulfide, get trapped under its crust, potentially fatal to humans if they step on it. It could kill you in seconds. No way, dudes. Killer toxic algae. Killer toxic gas algae. Okay. Man, there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm finding it. Toxic beach trees. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I got distracted by the toxic beach algae. Now let's try to find the toxic beach trees. The little apple of death. This refers to the fact that the manchineel is one of the most dangerous trees in the world. Oh, okay, the beach apple. I think we might have covered this one. There was a couple in Australia. Even that, like, being near it could kill you, and it would hurt for like years. And what happens if you touch a manchineel tree? Instant blistering, blindness and death. Yeah, I think we did have this one. I don't know. There's more than one now, so it's getting confusing. Manchineel tree. I'll write this one down, but there's more than one tree that does this crap now. Manchineel tree. We covered it. We covered some Australian ones a while back. Now, I saw that on one of those survival shows where they had, she had camped under it, and then she had, one of them touched the leaves or something. They had all kinds of problems. Raven Hawk is in. Welcome, welcome. Alex Rasmussen. All right, where are we now? There's a lot of, you guys found a lot of them. I found a few just looking at your guys's. All right, here's the creepies. All right, back when the Iraq war was going on. Let's see if I can find that famous image. Here it is, the famous image of the camel spider, and they showed this image. And then they said, oh, look at these huge icky spiders out here in the desert. And these are actually, then they're like, oh, it's actually two of them stuck together. But they're still, these are big 6-inch icky spiders. All right, and I looked those up back then, and they were the camel spider. There was only one kind, and they were out in like the Iraqi deserts and the Persian deserts. And that is freaking it. That was it. I looked these things up. Also, I might add, I don't know what these bumps are on here. I don't remember those. God, it looks like it has little suction cups on it or something. Ooh, those weren't on there before. All right, but this is the original image, plus looks like some suction cups. But there's like hundreds of kinds of those, including in California now. We have those freaking things, camel spiders. We have them, although they're not spiders now. Are camel spiders found in California. Reach up to 6 inches. Most commonly found in Middle Eastern deserts. They also live in southwestern United States and Mexico. Camel spiders are nocturnal and flee from the sun. Um, Here's another creepy about these camel spiders, besides the fact that they live around here now. They can run about 10 miles per hour, which is faster than a human jog, so they can move. And they seek shadows. So what that means is, as you walk by, they jump into your shadow because they like shadows. And then as you run, they chase your shadow. So they freaking chase you. Now they're saying they're just chasing the shadow. They run faster than a jog. So they'll be freaking chasing your butt. I don't remember anything about this chasing thing when they talked about these other ones. But back in when they were in Iraq still. You can see the Mandela has been planning ahead. They showed you those images. Oh, look what our poor soldiers must endure on the Iraqi deserts. And they totally shopped this thing around. Are these the new spiders that eat the human flesh? No, no, I don't think so. They said that. God. You guys are coming up with all the creepies. All right, for camel spiders, they said they can bite you, but it just kind of hurts, and they're not toxic, and it's not a big deal. Spiders could theoretically eat every human. Yeah, okay, but do they? Flesh-eating camel spiders. Okay, well, paint me wrong then. Apparently there was one. Flesh-eating camel spiders. See, there they are. A carnivorous arachnid that can bite humans. They just said they could bite humans. They didn't say they eat them. It was found in Turkey. They're really corning it up, but so far from what I can tell, it's climate change. They got all the way from Iraq to being native to California. I don't think that's climate change. They appear to have 10 legs. They actually have 8. The 2 extra leg-like appendages are sensory organs called pedipalps. They eat other bugs, lizards, small birds, and rodents, but they are of negligible threat to humans, whom they can give painful bites but rarely harm them in a serious way as they are not venomous. Okay, so yeah, they don't eat human flesh yet, but they can bite you. All right, here's another one. I think I've mentioned this one before, but it's bugging me so much that I have to say it again. I'm on Nextdoor, which is a local chat function for people who live near each other. I mean, it's nationwide, but you can only chat with people who have an address near you. So we can all kind of talk about local issues. And it's coming up a whole bunch the last month. People finding scorpions in their house. They're not finding them outside. The first time you ever see one is in your house. And this happened to me a couple weeks ago. Freaking scorpion in the living room. And they run fast. I was going to try to put something over it, but it's like, yeah. I actually ended up just mashing it to death because freaking don't want it to get under the couch. And now we've got a freaking scorpion hiding in the house. But I've never seen a scorpion outside around here. I've seen them way out in the far deserts, 5 hours from here. But not, I do gardening, I do hiking. You do gardening, you would think you'd eventually see a scorpion, but no, I have never seen a scorpion outside. And then there's one in the freaking living room. All right. What's weird is 2 or 3 other people on Nextdoor that live around here, they also found scorpions in their living rooms or their bedrooms in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And they all said the same thing. I've never even seen a scorpion in San Diego before, and then there's one in their house. So I guess the Emmy wants to make sure that you know that they're there, so they plant them in your freaking house. I mean, I could just see them outside, please. All right, so I found this article today when I was looking up these freaking things. Ugh. Scorpion is moving into San Diego homes for the summer. The thing is, that's a 2013 YouTube thing. They're saying, oh, it got hot, so the poor little scorpions wanted some better temperature, so they got in your house. Get out. 2013, no, it's this year. Scorpions, any scorpions, it's this year. Freaking scorpions. All right. I think I'm running down the home stretch here. Got you. History of... All right, I only got like 2 left. Let me see what you guys are up to. Yeah, I found a scorpion. 2 weeks earlier than that, we found a freaking giant tarantula in the living room. How does a tarantula get in? At least scorpions are flat and they scooch along, but a tarantula. I'd rather have the tarantula than the scorpion, honestly. Scared Performance talked about a small mouse that eats scorpions and get high on the poison and howl like a wolf. I covered that last week, actually, that howling mouse. They were saying it eats the scorpions and can translate the poison into a painkiller. I showed it howling, blah, blah. Yeah, it was weird. Put a cage over it. I tried to put a cage over the scorpion, but it was moving so fast that I couldn't get... and then it was like under the chair, so then you can't just put something over because it was under the chair, and then it was heading towards the couch at Mach 5, and I just started pounding it because, sorry, has to go. No running, gotta kill it. Because I want to come back to the house later, and I do not want to be walking around the living room wondering which piece of furniture the freaking scorpion is hiding under. I have a cat, but I don't know. I think he'd just sniff it. He's not a total idiot, but I don't think he has experience with scorpions. I don't know. When weird stuff comes in, insects, he comes up and he just gets real close to him, but he stays just out of range. He does eat spiders, but the bigger things he just investigates. So actually, he does help me find a lot of bugs, and this year he's been very busy. But most of them have been like crickets and stuff. I'm still trying to figure out how these things are getting in the house. How are they getting in here? We've got, those little rubber things on the bottom of the doors. The windows don't have any big cracks. How are they getting in here? At least if spiders are getting bigger, you don't have to check your shoes. You know what? I wear flip-flops, so there's not a place to hide. In the winter, though. Yeah, in the winter, I better start. Actually, that's a good point. I never check my shoes. Usually I have flip-flops, but in the winter, I do actually wear shoes. Most of them will be going inside looking for somewhere to hide. It's somewhere warm to hide. It's freaking summer. They could go outside, they'll be warmer. Then, in the winter, they'll be looking for someplace warm, and in the summer, they'll be looking for someplace cool. Just get out. GTFO. We never had this before. I used to leave my front door hanging open like all day in the whole summer. And the only things that ever came in were the little lizards and rarely. I never had a tarantula, no scorpions, none of those things ever came in before. And now I got the doors shut and they're getting in. I'm not even leaving it open at all. Oh, all right. I think someone may have covered this one a while back. I vaguely recall it, but I stumbled on it anyway. Trying to remember. I have this vague recollection of someone covering it. For the Olympic torch, what I was taught was that the carrying of the Olympic torch with the flame and the lighting, that went all the way back to the origins of the Olympics. Way back. They did that all the way back and they carried it forward. But in this timeline, it was the Nazis who invented the Olympic torch carrying ceremony business. The brainchild of Carl Diem, the chief organizer of the Berlin Games, who envisioned an unprecedented succession of more than 3,000 run-ins transporting the flame. And this guy was a Nazi. So he wanted this fancy spiel for his Berlin Games when the Nazis were running the Olympics. So that's a change. I think someone may have covered that one, though. And the last one I have is kind of an oldie but goodie. Another fire tornado. Now, if you will recall, when these fire tornadoes first came out, the spiel when they first came out was that really large, humongosaurus fire was so big that it made a fire tornado. And we're talking these giant freaking, like unprecedented California wildfires with unprecedented conditions. But what I'm seeing now is the fire tornadoes are showing up everywhere. This fire here looks pretty mellow. There's hardly anything on the ground burning. These guys aren't worried. It's the kind of thing where there doesn't appear to be much fuel. And look at that tornado. Fire tornado. It's amazing. Completely, absolutely neato Frito. I'm not going to play too much of it because I don't know what the copyright is on this thing. But, yeah. Check it out. You can go to Fire Tornado in Central Brazil on Reddit, r/WTF, and you can find this one yourself. So the fire tornado, it's like totally a thing now. I mean, and they spin so fast. Ugh, anyway, weird. Call weird. Torch was from ancient Rome's Olympics, not the Nazis. Yeah, in this timeline, they're saying that it was written about that maybe they carried a torch, but nobody knew for sure. And the Nazis got the idea from some old literature. In my timeline, it was an unbroken tradition that went back to the beginning of the Olympics. But in this timeline, no. It pretty much, modern times, we didn't do it until the Nazis came up with it, since they love their pomp and circumstance. All the way back to the Greeks. Yes, it's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. No, it was all the way back to the original Olympics. Sorry, I don't even want to believe what you just said about scorpions, so therefore I'm totally refused to accept that storyline. Castrator barnacles? Are you serious? Oh my god, I'm afraid to click on this. I don't... Oh my god, is it real? Oh no. Oh, okay. It only castrates crabs. Still, that's gross. Castrates crabs. Castrator barnacles. You guys got a lot of good ones today. I didn't have that many, but the ones you have are all like, ah. Saculina, of course, is a genus of barnacles that is parasitic castrator of crabs. They belong to a group called Rhizocephala. The adults bear no resemblance to the barnacles that cover ships. They are recognized as barnacles because their larval forms are like members of the barnacle class. Ew. Gross. Feel sorry for those crabs. This timeline loves these creepy parasitic things. Taking over your brain, making you a zombie, taking over eating your tongue and taking it over. Now we've got something taking over the poor crab's man parts. Root-like tendrils wrap themselves around the host's organs, which gives it a group name already known as root head. The area is primarily for absorbing nutrients, which would explain why most concentrate in that area. In a similar species, roots were seen extending to the brain and central nervous system, which could help explain how parasites like these can manipulate their host's behavior. Again, I called it before I even read it. Zombification again with these tendrils. Ugh. All right, so they're not explaining how these tendrils control the brain. Still gross, though. All right, so it changes the hormonal balance. This causes the crab to become sterile and changes the body layout of the crab to resemble that of a female crab by widening and flattening its abdomen, among other things. See, this weird for this timeline is my old timeline, once you were developed, that was your shape. But in this timeline, hormonal changes can make you, even after you're an adult, you can change to be the other form. The female Saculina forces the crab to release hormones, causing it to act like a female crab. If the parasite is removed, female crabs normally regenerate new ovarian tissue, while males usually develop complete or partial ovaries instead of testes. So even if they remove the parasite, they stay female. That's weird too. Okay. Yeah, so many of these zombie creatures in this timeline. I've gotten so many bugs, beetles, spiders, and flies have been out of control. Yeah, we've got a lot of flies this year. There's no reason for it. I don't have any outdoor pets. There used to be a lot of outdoor animals around here. My mom had outdoor animals, rabbits and stuff. The neighbors had horses and stuff. Those are all gone now. I don't know why we have so many flies. There's been a ton of them. And they're weirdly greenish. Used to be the housefly was black, but there's all these different species now. And the ones I'm seeing now are this weird greenish toned ones. I've never seen any greenish flies until just recently. Phoid flies, yeah, we covered those last week. Gross. I think it's the plagues getting set for us, the fowls of the air prepping to eat the flesh of the fallen. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of Bible stuff like that, but remember it also says that some people will be protected and not to fear and blah blah blah. So um, I think that you don't necessarily have to go through all that. And we've seen a lot of weird crap up until now. There's been a lot of weird stuff, and yet we go to work and pay the bills, and it's pretty much business as usual. I mean, there's some weird stuff. There's some confusion. Not all of us are feeling super healthy all the time, but overall, compared to that stuff they talk about in the Bible, it hasn't been, it hasn't been like hell. So it appears that you don't necessarily have to go through a bunch of bad stuff. So that's my plan. I'm not doing it. October reset. Why is it we never make it out past October? I don't know. I don't remember them talking about an October reset. I know one year there was a lot of weird stuff like right around Christmas, New Year. If I get really sick, it seems like there's a big reset then. I've seen tiny blue and white moths only about a half-inch big. Huh. Have not seen those. Adam Ant is from Chico. Welcome, welcome. Not that far away. Now you have to go to some funerals 2 to 3 times before they stay dead. Oh my gosh. I wonder if anybody's actually been to somebody's funeral and had them come back. I actually have not heard that story. It seems like people come back, but you're not that close to them that you'd actually been to their funeral. I mean, you knew people who went to their funeral, but then you talked to them and they didn't, oh, he was not dead. All right. Anyways, I have seen your name in live chat for at least 2 years. I heard you talking to Scarab the other day, and I thought I heard it wrong. I don't know. Did I don't remember being on Scarab's channel. I actually just stayed off all the channels. It got so confusing because if you're on one channel, then people want you to be on their channel, and there'll be a lot of channels I'll have to be on, and then there's like these inter-channel rivalries, and I don't want to get like sucked into that by going on one channel, then this other channel doesn't like me. It's so confusing, so I just decided to kind of like be Switzerland on that. Even though, there's certainly channels I think I watch a lot, but it's just easier to stay out of it. I also don't have a lot of time, so it gets complicated trying to match schedules and stuff. That's why I do it late at night so that I can, normally I'd be sleeping, so there's nothing scheduled right now. September 25 to 27 is when 70 nations signed the One World Religion document. One World, I don't even know about that one. Document. One World Religion document. Well, that's weird. Pope Francis signed a document with Muslim leaders about there being one world religion. How can that be? Some of my non-Catholic friends are accusing the Pope of being out of line. What really happened? I cannot find a call for one world religion. Instead, it's a plea for peace and nonviolence, a call to all Catholics, Muslims, and believers to unite and work together in order to serve as a guide for future generations. A document on human fraternity for world peace and living together. Work strenuously to spread the blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, so it condemns like basic bad stuff like genocide. All right, so it's not really, at least thus far that we know of, actually one world religion. However, the title is pretty weird. Is that really the title of it? Or did somebody just kind of plant that on there? Document on human fraternity for world peace and living. I don't know. That one's interesting, but I don't think it's clear cut as of yet. Did I cover the food pyramid? All right, let me check it out. Now, they have been changing that as far as I know. Used to be a whole bunch of carbohydrates at the bottom. You'd have to kind of go back and see if it's always been that way. Grains and cereals. It looks the same. Fruits and vegetables, meat, fats. All right, that pyramid looks the same as I remember it. Breads and cereals on the bottom, then fruits, vegetables, then meat, poultry, fish, dairy, and then at the top was fat, oil, salt, and sweet. That is how I remember it. There's a lot of different opinions about that and arguments. Here's a different one with fruits on the bottom and then dairy. I don't think that one's clear cut. There's just too much argument about it. I heard that they're trying to build a temple in Jerusalem again. I don't know. I keep hearing that they've been trying it like for years. I mean, there's definitely other weird things that are in the prophecy, like fresh water at the Dead Sea, those kind of things. So I've been kind of waiting to see if they build that temple. But right now, I think they have to, I have to at least hear they're building it or it's there, because their gonna has been going on for a while. The former Twin Towers suddenly have two bands around them which divide them into thirds. You know, I covered that a while back. I looked at the bands. That may have was like at least a year ago. The bands are more prominent now. That's one thing I will say. But I did notice those a while back. I'm not even sure if it was me or it was somebody else actually that noticed it, but I know I covered them. I've heard that there will be no resets anymore. They can't do it. According to who, though? I mean, who even knows what's going on? Emmy Affected did a video about someone who he knew that came back. Yes, I saw that video. And he kind of interviewed her. In her mind, she had just been sick and then got better. Oh, Sesso talked about two men who were going to a funeral for the third time. Huh, that would be pretty creepy. All right, well, hour 40 minutes. Might be time for me to hit the road. So I'm out of stuff. You guys apparently are out of stuff. The snake on the Wailing Wall. I don't remember there being a snake on the Wailing Wall. Let me just look at that real quick. Snake emerges from western wall cracks. Oh, Snake signifies resurgence of evil. Huh. Okay, so it's an actual snake that slithered out of a crack. Yeah, that would be kind of a bad omen, wouldn't it be? You imagine your holy place, you're performing prayers, and a snake comes out. Yeah. In the world is here of snake appearing in Israel's blah, blah, blah. Fish in the Dead Sea and a snake in the... So was that actually like a prophecy that there would be a snake in there? Fish in the Dead Sea, signs of the end times appear in Jerusalem. Yeah, see, the Dead Sea is supposed to be dead, but lately they've been saying that there's fresh water at the bottom and fresh water on the sides. The first of the three strange occurrences was the birth of the first red heifer in 2,000 years. Oh, so they have their red heifer now. Last time I was reading that red heifer thing. Let's see, when is this thing even? I just want to see when this article was written. Is it recent? I hate it when they don't put the date. There's one comment. Sometimes the comments will have the date. Ugh. Not helping at all. Why did they not put the date? Very irritating. Last I checked on the red heifers, there was a species of red heifers, and they just were looking for one that had all red hairs. It couldn't have any other hairs. So apparently they're saying they have it now. Because last I checked last year, they did not have the red heifer, which is supposedly needs to be slaughtered as part of the christening of a temple that will be in Jerusalem that is like a precursor to the end times, according to prophecy, in case anybody doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about. But I heard about this prophecy, and one of the things with that, there'd be fish in the Dead Sea and fresh water in the Dead Sea. They needed this red heifer. Now, in my old timeline, there were no red heifers. So they're like, oh, well, there's maybe if genetic engineering made the red heifers. But in this timeline, they have red heifers. A snake crawled out of the stones of the Wailing Wall, one of Israel's holiest sites. The snake was identified as a coin-marked snake, 3 feet long. Also, earlier this year, a falling stone nearly crushed a woman when praying below on July 2018. All right, so that is not specifically predicted, but you know, snakes connotations, not great. That's interesting. They have that red heifer already, though, because that's one step further than last I checked. So they're saying this one was out without blemish. I can't say for the 90s because I just wasn't tracking this stuff back then. Oh, Tanya Harding is now Tonya. Yeah. The name changes are so... Let's see. Yeah, no. She was Tanya, not Tonya. I agree with you there. Whoops. How did I do that? Keep Mexico in your prayers. Anniversary of the earthquakes. Yes, please. Hopefully everybody will be protected that should be protected. All right. I think it's time for me to go. Try to get to bed at a reasonable hour today. Thank you, everybody, for coming. As usual, you found a lot of good stuff. I think more than half of it was all you guys's. Lots of weird animals. And it just seems like it's getting more blatant, this whole TV turning to real life thing. Anyways, so thanks for coming. Thanks for all your input. Good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.